distance.
Hi, Mom. Buy a button.
Win a house. Imagine your family in this brand new one-of-a-kind design dream home valued at $177,000.
Buy a button.
Win a house. The KARE 11 Dream Castle could be yours. Just buy a Winter Carnival button at any one of these stores, then send in your entry form. Ask for your Winter Carnival button at over 800 locations throughout the entire metro area.
Buy a button.
Win a house. The KARE 11 Dream Castle giveaway.
Buy a button, win this house.
From breaking news to business news, from sports and weather to features and interviews.
We report about people, places, and issues that are important to you. Weekends on the NBC Nightly News and News 11, only on TV 11.
Do the North Stars finally win a game at home? Find out tonight.
The last time the Washington Redskins won a Super Bowl was in 1982. That year, there was a strike, an abbreviated season, and Art Monk was injured. This year, as in '82, there's been a strike, an abbreviated season, and Art Monk is injured. The Skins are hoping history continues to repeat itself.
For the Minnesota Vikings, momentum is everything. After staggering into the playoffs, the Vikes have crushed first the Saints, then the powerhouse 49ers. They're on a victory roll that brings them to the nation's capital tomorrow.
There is no doubt the Broncos were embarrassed by the Giants in Super Bowl 21. They dedicated the entire season to getting back to the championship game. And with John Elway, who could be the NFL's most valuable player, they have an excellent chance of getting there.
The Cleveland Browns, fresh off their victory over the stubborn Indianapolis Colts, are right back where they want to be in the AFC Championship game with the Broncos. They want revenge for last year's championship loss. The Browns and their fans are saying this is our year.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Paul Majors.
And I'm Glenn Brenner. We'll be taking you to 4 cities tonight, each town with a stake in tomorrow's NFL championship.
During the next hour, we'll size up the teams, we'll meet the players, and even some fans. Our first stop is Denver, where we're joined by Mike Nolan and Neb Chandler. They'll be covering the AFC teams for us.
Gentlemen, this, of course, is only the 4th time in history that the two teams have been playing the championships 2 years in a row.
Well, really, it's a lot different, Mike, I think, this time around. Denver and Cleveland, you know, have been here before, but the novelty of just getting to a championship game because of that has worn off. Now they're on a mission to win the Super Bowl.
We'll have a little something for everybody over the next hour, sports fan or not. We'll have a season summary, looking back at how each team in the championship made it there.
Also coming up, we'll match up the teams and see what each has to do to get to that final game, the Super Bowl.
And there's still more from both Washington and Denver. We'll go live across the country and see what the fans have to say about tomorrow's big games.
And coming up just a bit later, we'll get the latest odds in the big games and a live report from Las Vegas.
With 4 teams in the championship playoffs, we want to know what you think is which one of the teams is Super Bowl bound.
We've set up a special dial-it poll to find out who you favor. If you think the Redskins are headed to the Super Bowl, call 1-900-720-6881. If you think the Vikings will make it, call 1-900-720-6882. There's the score right there on your screen for the Redskins and for the Vikings. To cast your vote for the Broncos, call 1-900-720-6883. And if you favor the Cleveland Browns, call 1-900-720-6884. The call will cost you 50 cents. You do have to pay a small fee for that. And a little bit later in this show and even later on your local news, we'll have the results for you.
And whether it's Washington's Hogettes planning their wardrobe or a Denver fan painting his house orange, the fans are ready for tomorrow.
And we have reporters out in all 4 cities, so let's check in with them right now.
I'm Steve Alvarez. In Denver, we are at an establishment called Jackson's Hall. It's a favorite of some of the Broncos, and as you can see behind me, many Broncos fans. They love their football team. They will go to any extent for their football team. Coming up a little bit later, we'll show you some of their shenanigans during the week. They've been painting their nails. They're making John Elway piñatas. It is crazy here.
And I'm Lou Maglio in Cleveland, where fans have been waiting since 1964 for the Browns to be champions again. There's no more wait till next year. This is next year in Cleveland.
I'm Mike Buchanan live in Washington, D.C.
Tonight in the nation's capital, we're not talking politics. We're talking a Redskin veto of the Vikings.
And I'm Nancy Blake in Minnesota Vikings, Terry, where these fans are behind their team 100%. They say they're not going to let the odds stop them now.
I think all four could be in physical danger before the night's
no
over.
excitement there, is there?
The fans are set, so are we. We're ready for the championship.
Still to come, we'll see how each of the four teams made it this far.
And a little later, who you should put your money on. We'll be back just after this break.
You're with a championship, Super Bowl bound.
Decker Tools. From glue sticks to shop tools, you'll save on Black & Decker quality now. This variable speed rotary toolkit is ideal for hobbies or workshops. It has 22 attachments to cut, drill, carve, engrave, polish, sharpen, sand, and more. On sale now for just $29.99. For dazzling deals on Black & Decker Tools, hurry into Menards. Helping you build America's heartland at Menards.
Hansard Downtown Pontiac presents the 1988 6000 DTE and the 1988 Grand Am DTE, the Downtown Editions. Both feature European luggage racks, DTE trim, custom alloy wheels. Now at a special downtown price. The 6000 DTE, $10,380. The Grand Am DTE, $9,780. Only at Hansard Pontiac in the heart of downtown Minneapolis. Gatorade this winter, maybe you just don't get thirsty. Gatorade is thirsty. Hold back deep down by your thirst.
I had a mean case of the blues. My stereo, the one that saw me through 3 years of college and 5, 6 serious relationships, it died. So I'm thinking, where does an audiophile with a cash flow problem go to get a great stereo? Then it hit me. Best.
When you're thinking of home electronics, think Best.
Now these are the kind of blues I can live with.
Welcome back to Denver. I'm Nev Chandler along with Mike Nolan. In Cleveland, the Browns rode the arm of Bernie Kosar and a pressure-packed month of December to rise from a cluttered division in the AFC Central Division title.
And Denver nearly fell apart after the players' strike, had to ride the strong arm of John Elway. Here's a look at how the Broncos got to the AFC Championship.
The Broncos look like AFC champs, winning the opener from Seattle, the team many had picked to go to the Super Bowl. John Elway, 3 touchdown passes, and the defense shut out the Seahawks in the second half in a 40-17 win. A disappointing tie against Green Bay in the rain at Milwaukee, and then the long, bitter strike by players. The replacements did a credible job. After being blown out by Houston at home, they came back to beat the Raiders on Monday night and racked up a victory against Kansas City. After the strike, the Broncos hit their low point with a loss in Buffalo, leaving them staggering along at 4-3-1.
Since I've been here, we've never taken the easy road anyway, and we've got definitely our work cut out for us now, especially the next 7 games, and you know, we've got to regroup and get it going.
The turning point came on a cold Monday night against the Bears.
After trailing 14-0, John Elway single-handedly led Denver back to win. He threw 3 scoring passes as the Broncos beat the Bears 31-29.
When you walk in the huddle and you see John confident in that little walk that he has, like was John Wayne, boy, you know he's getting ready to do some serious things to the defense.
Elway and the Broncos were on a roll. The 5th-year player became the most dominant quarterback in the National Football League. A tough win against the Raiders on the road, and then 3 more touchdown passes against the Chargers in a 31-17 victory in San Diego.
A great team effort offensively, and defense got us the ball, and we just held on the ball and kept it away from Dan, and fortunately we got out of here with a win.
They would win 6 of their last 7 games to take their 2nd straight AFC West title and home field advantage in the playoffs. It was a swarming defense that shut down Houston in the playoff opener. Broncos cruised to a 34-10 victory, and it set the stage for the rematch with the Cleveland Browns.
The Browns season began in ominous fashion when Reuben Mays ripped the dog defense for 147 yards rushing, and the Saints prevailed in the Superdome 28-21. It marked the 5th straight year the Browns had dropped their season opener. But quickly adjustments were made. The dog defense became a bear defense against the Steelers. 6 interceptions for the Browns, 2 by Clay Matthews, and a 34-10 win. Then came 320-pound tackle Keith Bosley and a 3-week strike. But the Boz was able to open enough holes, and the Browns were able to stay afloat, going 2-1 during the work stoppage. The return of the veterans brought a return of Monday Night Football to the stadium and a return to form of Bernie Kosar as the Browns bounced the Rams 30-17. But the following week in San Diego, former Browns linebacker Chip Banks, the All-Pro, tormented his old teammates and led the Chargers to a 27-24 overtime victory. Following wins over Atlanta and Buffalo, the Browns hit full stride in the Astrodome, routing the Oilers 40-7 as the offense racked up 457 yards, and Bernie burned the Oilers on a bomb to Webster Slaughter just before halftime. There were doubts when the Browns lost 2 straight, including a blowout defeat in San Francisco. But Joe Montana and Jerry Rice combined to scorch plenty of opponents, not just the Cleveland secondary. The Browns finished strong with 3 straight wins to wrap up their 3rd straight AFC Central Division crown at 10-5. The clincher in Pittsburgh saw the Browns hold the football the entire 4th quarter to secure a tough 19-13 victory over the Steelers. Round 1 of the playoffs saw the Browns get revenge for a 9-7 loss to the Colts back in December. The Browns shut down Eric Dickerson, and Bernie Kosar was on target 21 of 30 times against a defense that had given up the fewest points in the league. Browns 38, Colts 21, and it's on to Denver.
The NFC was full of surprises this season. The Giants fell apart early. The Vikings grew strong towards the end. Strong enough, in fact, for the underdog win against San Francisco that gave the Vikes a berth in tomorrow's game.
For the Redskins, it seemed to be a weekly series of come-from-behind wins. They had the undefeated strike team, and then there was the shuffling between quarterbacks Doug Williams and Jay Schrader.
1987 may have been the most tumultuous year in Redskins history. It seems that everything that could have gone wrong did. First, the team was beset by injuries. Less than an hour after training camp opened, Mark May had to be helped off the field with a knee injury. Running back George Rogers then suffered a toe injury that still bothers him. The team literally limped into the season opener against Philadelphia, and on their very first offensive series, lost starting quarterback Jay Schrader with a separated shoulder. Doug Williams came off the bench to lead the Skins past the Eagles. Over the following week, they were upset in Atlanta. The following day, everyone was upset by the players' strike. It lasted 4 weeks. The Skins' replacement team went 3-0 and won the hearts of Washington with their enthusiastic style of play. The regulars tried to come back a week early, but were turned away at the door. The players, who were beaten badly by the owners in the strike, now felt they were having their noses rubbed in it.
You know, I think there's got to be some decisions made personally from people if you want to go on playing with people like this. And I don't know if I do. I don't know if in the long run I really want to play with a group like this. So that's all I have to say.
By the time the strike ended, Schrader's shoulder had healed, and he'd gotten his old job back. He led the team to wins over the Jets and Buffalo, but it was obvious Jay was struggling. Joe Gibbs yanked him in the Detroit game. Doug Williams won that game in relief and also won his job back. 2 weeks later, Williams sat out the Giants game because of back spasms, and Jay moved back into the #1 spot for the next 3 weeks before being benched again in the final game of the season against the Vikings. Williams led the Skins to a come-from-behind overtime win, then won his first game as a starter 2 weeks later in Chicago in the Skins' playoff opener against the Bears. He will start tomorrow, and he is the man the Redskins believe will take them the rest of the way.
Here's #1. When Tommy Kramer arrived late to training camp after undergoing alcohol treatment, then injured himself in the preseason, Viking fans wondered out loud about a quarterback change for the future.
I think Kramer's got the experience, but Wilson's got to be the quarterback of the future.
Wade Wilson didn't look like the answer to the Vikings' problems when he opened the season against Detroit. Wilson threw 3 first-half interceptions, 1 for a touchdown. But in the second half, he was unstoppable. This 73-yard bomb to Anthony Carter would be a harbinger of games to come. The final, 34-19 Vikings. In Los Angeles the next week, Wilson led the Vikings to a 17-15 come-from-behind victory, hitting Hassan Jones with 35 seconds left. The surprising Vikings were 2-0.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. I'm still eating.
Then came the strike, and 3 replacement games, and 3 losses. If the playoffs were to be salvaged, it would take an enormous amount of hard work and luck. Fans greeted the real Vikings back to the Dome, and the team responded with an exciting 34-27 victory over Denver. And then came a loss at Seattle, the first for the Viking regulars, and it prompted a surprise move by Jerry Burns.
Maybe it's a time for a change. Wade played very well. We want to see what Tommy can do.
Kramer started against the Los Angeles Raiders, but didn't finish. And that pattern would repeat itself all season. Wade Wilson off the bench sparked the Vikings to a 31-20 win. After victories over Tampa Bay and Atlanta, and this exciting overtime winning run by Darren Nelson against Dallas on Thanksgiving Day, the Vikings hosted Chicago on Sunday night and lost a heartbreaker and a shot at the NFC Central title 30-24. Then came another heartbreaker at Milwaukee as the underdog Packers won 16-10. And 2 weeks later, after a win at Detroit, another stunning defeat as Washington all but ends the Vikings' playoff hopes as this overtime field goal sends the team to defeat. Now they needed Dallas to beat St. Louis to make the wild card playoffs. Wade Wilson's reaction at home while watching the game says it all. The Cowboys' win keeps the dream alive, and we all know what it's led to.
And there's a lot more coming your way as we get set for the championship.
Just what will the teams have to do to get to the Super Bowl? We'll find out.
And what role are the fans playing in the championships? We'll have that after this timeout.
You're with a championship, Super Bowl bound.
Hansard Downtown Pontiac presents the 1988 6000 DTE and the 1988 Grand Am DTE, the Downtown Editions. Both feature European luggage racks, DTE trim, custom alloy wheels. Now at a special downtown price. The 6000 DTE, $10,380. The Grand Am DTE, $9,780. Only at Hansard Pontiac in the heart of downtown Minneapolis.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be fun. Wintertime savings at Mills Fleet Farm will send your January blues on the run. Visit Fleet Farm's home center stores for remodeling ideas.
Choose from over 130 patterns of top-quality wall covering by Lennon. Prices start at just $8.79 per roll.
Or bring your ideas in for a free estimate on quality all-wood cabinets by Riviera. Semi-custom design means many options to choose from. All Riviera cabinets are on sale now.
So don't be snowed. You'll find the best bargains around.
Now during wintertime savings at Mills Fleet Farm.
Menards is out to dazzle you with sparkling values in lighting. You'll find wall lights, chandeliers, and more on sale now. For dramatic accents, choose modern track lighting. On sale now starting at just $9.44. And stock up to save on Sylvania soft white light bulbs. Buy 2 twin packs at the sale price, and with the rebate, your cost is just 29 cents per bulb. For dazzling deals in lighting, come on into Menards. You build America's heartland at Menards.
Remember when a drive-in was $1, a hot dog was a dime, and cars were under $10,000? Now the movie's $6. A hot dog's $1.75. And cars, Well, Subaru still has a line of cars for under $10,000.
Stop that, Jimmy!
The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Visit your local Subaru dealer.
NFC fans in both Washington and Minneapolis, Minnesota, St. Paul, everywhere across the upper Midwest are throwing their support behind their teams in the playoffs.
I know for a fact here in Washington the fans are just going wild and will be wilder tomorrow at game time.
In Minneapolis, sports fans are having a great year. First, the Twins win the World Series, and now they're rooting on the Minnesota Vikings. Asha Blake is live in Minneapolis now with more on those loyal fans. Asha?
Well, Paul, it is, as you can imagine, an absolute madhouse out here. We've got cheerleaders over here dressed in purple, cheerleaders and touchdown towels. We've got pom-poms and crazy fans. Now, I'll tell you, the Vikings mania started out slowly, but right now it's picking up full steam.
If you want to talk fans, Minnesota during the World Series was the place to get lost in all the hoopla. When that was over, who would have thought there would have been life after baseball? That is, until the Vikings turned it all around, and sports fans found reasons to live again.
I came all the way from New Jersey to see my friends and watch this game, and if they win, we're flying to San Diego, and we're rooting for the Vikings all the way! Cheer for the Minnesota Vikings!
They're not singing about the Twins anymore. Now the dancing and the face painting is for the Vikings, the underdog team that no one said could do it. Fans don't only twist and shout in bars, they do it in the airport to welcome the team home. And if you want to talk memorabilia, talk to our own fan, Mike Igo.
Purple, gold, and white, we're the Vikings. Faithful and true, we're the Vikings.
And if you're not into wearing purple and gold, you can always wave it. Touchdown Towel Mania is now starting to rival its cousin, the Homer Hanky.
Well, I'll tell you, this is momentum that is not going to stop. These folks say they're going to the Super Bowl, and Redskin fans, you're going to have to be pretty loud to beat these guys. Let's go to Washington. Mike Buchanan, how are things over there? Just as loud?
Oh, that is such a sleazy scene in Minneapolis. This week in Washington, Japan's Prime Minister met with President Reagan at the White House. Vice President Bush fielded more questions about arms to Iran. And here at Champion's Restaurant, just a couple of miles from Capitol Hill, these people are probably discussing the nation's improved trade deficit. Aren't you... There's only one story in Washington. That's the Redskins.
Washington has historic monuments, impressive memorials, outstanding museums, and not necessarily in order of importance, it's the home of the president, political leaders, diplomatic scholars, and the Redskins.
If the Redskins are not number one, there's nobody number one.
Washington also has an outstanding national symphony, one that proudly plays the Redskin fight song. The Redskins don't have fans. They have devout followers, addicts. When the Redskins play, government and businesses are put on hold. Stores are empty, crime takes a time out, fashion takes a holiday. For the past 2 decades, with the exception of this season's strike games, every Redskin game at RFK Stadium has been sold out. The line for a season ticket now extends into the year 2010. Most people get season tickets by inheriting them. In divorce cases, custody battles are often fought over Redskin tickets. Now, for tomorrow's game, one $45 seat on the 40-yard line is selling for $250. And the game is on TV. Redskin fans learn at an early age to hate Dallas. For years, it was the dreaded Cowboys. The Washington-Dallas rivalry made the ugliest Democratic primary look like a pillow fight. But for the past couple of years, with the fall of the Cowboys, the Redskin-Giants games have been developing into a fierce hate relationship. The Dallas and the Giants were both home for Christmas. And on Sunday, it'll be the Redskins against the Minnesota Vikings. Now, how can you hate the Minnesota Vikings? Minnesota, it's so cold. It's so clean.
It's enjoyment. This is Minnesota.
Minneapolis, after all, it's the home of Mary Tyler Moore. Like the Vikings, they're so pert and so pretty.
No, it's not.
We're just 2 weeks and 1 game away from the Super Bowl. How time flies when you're having a good time.
All right, tell those fans to go home, go to bed, and get their game faces on. Fans are fans the world over, and they are just as excited in Denver and Cleveland as they are in Minneapolis and Washington, D.C.
And both cities have been caught up in the rematch of the Broncos and Browns, even though the players say that they haven't been. Let's go live now to Lou Maglio, who's in Cleveland, for a look at what Browns fans have been doing. Lou?
We are at Pat Joyce's, a downtown Cleveland watering hole that's a home away from home for many Browns fans. The fans call themselves the Dogs. That's D-A-W-G-S, Dogs, just like the team. There's a big crowd here tonight, people getting primed for the big showdown tomorrow. Brown spirit, well, it is here and everywhere in Cleveland, everywhere you look.
We're not talking common everyday enthusiasm here. We're talking mania, Browns mania, dog delirium. The fans in the stands, sure, but the mania has spilled onto the streets as well. Suburbs, too. Consider this Brownsmobile. Goalposts in front, doghouse on top. The numbers of Browns players on the sides of the house. Super Bowl bound on the windows. And yes, people do hop in that doghouse. And yes, they liven things up in lovely, rustic, normally serene Chagrin Falls, Ohio. We've got the second biggest law firm in the country here in Cleveland, Jones, Day, Revis & Pogue. First class, dignified. But take a look at the sign up there. Yes, the pinstripe suit crowd's got Browns mania too. And even here at the Natural History Museum, Stegosaurus the dinosaur picks now to answer the question that has stumped paleontologists. Yes, Steg is a Browns fan. No doubt about Augie the Bulldog, a Browns fan through and through. Yes, Browns mania is everywhere. Open your eyes and you see it and hear it. It has affected every aspect of Cleveland life, from the bankers who make important financial transactions under the doghouse, to children who clearly know where they live,
because they're Super Bowl,
to the Honorable Cleveland Mayor and Senate candidate George Voinovich.
It has been a long time between championships for Cleveland fans, but they really know they're on the verge of something special this year. If the Browns should come back from San Diego with that Super Bowl championship, stand by for the party to end all parties, a party that would make the Mardi Gras seem like a church picnic. Now, can Denver fans possibly match our mania? Let's go to Steve Alvarez to find out.
Well, all I can tell you is that we have saved the best for last, because anybody who's been to Denver knows the Broncos obviously have the best fans in the National Football League. If you don't believe me, take a look at what's been going on around here during the playoffs.
Yes, they love their Broncos here in Denver. So much so that after last week's win over Houston, the party didn't stop. They just moved it outside to the ticket windows and partied all night, waiting to buy tickets to tomorrow's game.
On Saturday, we flew a banner over Cleveland Stadium that said the Browns are going to die in Denver.
And for those folks who didn't get lucky at the stadium, well, some would do anything to get Broncos tickets. It's been a week of Bronco mania for sure here in Denver. Mayor Federico Pena gave it his best shot with a Cleveland radio station.
You want me to do a bark? That's it.
But that was far from it. When it comes to Bronco mania, there are no limits. This lady has the Broncos in the palm of her hand. Well, actually, on her fingernails. See, there's John Elway on her thumbnail, and the Three Amigos on 3 other digits.
And then just a spare in case you have a blowout.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Keeping with the Latin theme of the Three Amigos, how about a Broncos piñata? No truth to the rumor that when you break them open, dog bones spill out. Yes, all is orange and blue here in Denver. These folks are rabid. You can't dress like this in 1.5 feet of snow and not be a little bit crazy. And these people remember how the Browns fans treated the Broncos when they played in Cleveland last year. They won't be throwing dog bones tomorrow, but they will be bringing some Rocky Mountain thunder to the game.
can see the folks here at Jackson's Hole have been watching themselves on TV. They're proud of what they've done this week. And gentlemen, if they go to the Super Bowl, well, that is a scary concept. Back to you in the studio.
I hope they don't start throwing horseshoes tomorrow at Mile High. Well, you, the fans, still have a chance to tell us who you think is Super Bowl bound.
Indeed, that's right. It is very easy. Just call our dial-it poll. Here are the numbers. If you think the Redskins will be in the Super Bowl, call 1-900-720-6881. If you want to vote for the Vikings, 1-900-720-6882. If you think the Broncos are going to make it, call 1-900-720-6883. And to pick the Browns, call 1-900-720-6884. Your call will cost you 50 cents. Results later on your late local news.
There's plenty more to come as we head into the championship.
We'll let the fans in both the AFC and NFC cities square off against each other.
And we'll stack up the teams in both leagues from all 4 cities. Stay with us.
You're with a championship, Super Bowl bound.
The Twin Cities have a new friend. A friend that brings much-needed help to the hardest working member of your family, your car. The friend is FINA, where you'll find the kind of quality gasoline and automotive products that your hard-working car needs. So now that you've found a new friend for your car, all you have to do is find your car.
At FINA, you got a friend.
My folks just left.
Thank you.
The new Subaru Justy gets you anywhere you want to go, less expensively than any other four-wheel drive car.
Mr. Potts, you're home. Of course. What brings you out on a night like this, James?
Visit your local Subaru dealer.
I'm so proud. Proud of my wife.
Thanks.
And I'll be proud of Bobby.
Sarah.
He'll play baseball.
Tennis.
Just like his dad.
Mom.
He'll be a legend in football.
A champ on the court.
I think he'll go camping, fishing, golfing, swimming.
I think we'll go broke.
Nah, we'll go to Best.
Oh.
When you're thinking about sporting goods, think Best.
I can't wait.
Well, good, because I think it's time.
Time for what?
You're longing for the days of summer and a delicious flame-broiled hamburger.
I'll be right back.
Well, even though the snow is snowing and the wind is blowing, you can still get that taste of summer at Burger King. Juicy, delicious flame-broiled hamburgers. And this week, double cheeseburgers are only 99 cents. If you're ready to brave the elements, the least we can do is make it worth your while. Double cheeseburgers, 99 cents this week at Burger King.
I'm Mike Nolan in Denver with Nev Chandler. Now it's time to start looking at the matchups for these 2 championship games. The Broncos, of course, have lost Mike Harden and Vance Johnson with injuries, but we'll get back defensive back Dennis Smith to help offset the losses. Former Bronco Jim Turner tells us what Denver must do to win tomorrow.
Offensively, there's no question that Bernie Kosar is the key, and they have to make it so that Bernie Kosar doesn't dictate what type of defense the Broncos play. The Broncos want to dictate what type of plays Bernie has to call. The key to it in talking to all the Bronco defensive coaches is that the communication between the linebackers and the defensive backs are the key to the victory for the defensive team. Bernie likes to spread his offensive team out and utilize the big running backs, Biner and Mack. And when he does that, he sees what defense they're in, he spreads them out the next play, and he goes to a pass. Bernie, by the way, even though he's maybe the youngest quarterback around, is the smartest football player in the game today as far as instant recognition. 2 steps and boom. But how he does it, he sets it up and spreads the defense out. The coaches are telling us that they're going to try not to allow Bernie to do that, and it's the key to it because Bernie Kosar, people call him an ugly duckling. He throws sideways a la Steve Ramsey and a lot of other quarterbacks. But Bernie Kosar is a winner, and he's a smart winner, and he's going to really put him to the test. I look for this to be a shootout. 30 points on each side. I look to see, as John Elway tells us, that their two cornerbacks, Minifield and Dixon, are the best man cover men around. They're extremely physical. Other than Steve Watson, you've got the three amigos out there. They're small guys. So you got to keep them back away from the wide receivers. And what John has to do is what he did last year, utilize everybody that can catch a football. I think he threw to 12 different receivers last year. And to me, the key offensively, aside from John's prowess, John's presence, is to throw the ball in what you call the underbelly, right behind the linebackers in front of the safeties. Utilize Clarence Kay like he did last year, Orson Mobley, and Steve Sewell. Steve Sewell's versatility, he's tremendous in motion, as a runner, as a blocker, and he can throw the ball as a running back. And that adds a whole new dimension to the arsenal that John Elway has.
Well, unlike the Broncos, the Browns are healthy and say it's too late to change things with the Broncos' loss of Vance Johnson. Mike Hostetler has a look at what it's going to take for Cleveland to win the AFC title and take it away from the Broncos.
To beat the Broncos, you must stop John Elway, which is about as easy as tying your shoes while wearing catcher's mitts. Not only is Denver John one of the best passers in the NFL, he's the Broncos' second leading rusher.
He's a very mobile quarterback, and another thing about Elway, he's got such a strong arm that he doesn't, if you're off the receiver, he doesn't give you much recovery time. So he's definitely a force to be reckoned with.
This year's league MVP almost single-handedly beat the Browns in last year's championship with a 98-yard drive that is now legendary.
Sure, this last year, late in the game, and this year we got a few things in the game plan where we can prevent that.
One prevention the Browns' conference leading defense will try is blitzing more up the middle. It worked well against Indianapolis. If the defensive ends contain the corners, Elway will have nowhere to go. Another way to stop number 7 is to not give him the ball. Cleveland has to be able to run, to eat up the clock, and keep Elway on the sidelines. And unlike last year, Kevin Mack and Ernie Biner are both healthy this time around and will team together in the backfield. A lot of pressure will be on Browns rookie guard Greg Riccozzi, who will get his first NFL start. He'll have to contain Bronco Pro Bowler and sack leader Rulon Jones. Finally, Bernie Kosar must have at least a typical game. He averages less than 1 interception a contest, but was picked off twice by Denver in last year's title game. The Broncos led the AFC with 28 interceptions this season, so turnovers, as usual, will have a huge impact.
Now, the keys Hostetler and Turner Mentor are critical because the Browns and Broncos certainly are evenly matched.
Well, let's go back to Washington, D.C. for the Washington and Minnesota matchups with Paul and Glenn.
All right, thanks, Nevin. Mike, big games get a lot of hype, then it often seems they turn into blowouts. But the Skins and the Vikings seem to be pretty evenly matched. I think the point spread is 3.
All right, and that 3 points is basically because the Skins are playing at home. Traditionally, that goes to the home team, the 3-point advantage. But it'll take probably more than a noisy crowd in Washington tomorrow to win. Sonny Jurgensen has more on that story.
These two teams are evenly matched. Consider the last 2 times they've played, the game has ended up in overtime. In my opinion, in order for the Redskins to win, they have to execute the following game plan. Defensively for the Skins this week, they have 3 goals. Do everything possible to keep Anthony Carter from beating them.
It is caught. Is it inbounds? Yes, Anthony Carter.
Shut down Darren Nelson in the Viking running game that accumulated 204 yards in their last regular season meeting. Pressure and contain quarterback Wade Wilson.
All we can do is work hard. I mean, he had a great day against us. He's a great quarterback. We just have our work cut out for us. There's really no particular strategy involved because the things that he's able to do. I mean, he's fast enough to get the job done. He's a fine quarterback, great quarterback.
Offensively, the Skins need to be more consistent. You have to be patient against the Viking zone pass coverage. Protect quarterback Doug Williams against that great Viking rush of Dolman, Millard, and Martin. And they have to do a little better job of rushing the football because they only accumulated 77 yards in the last game.
They're not going to be an easy team to run the ball against. I think we have to, accept the challenge up front, do the job, and hopefully our running backs can find the holes. And hopefully we can stay on the field a lot longer than we did against them last time in Minnesota. They controlled the clock. We were very fortunate to win the game.
Throughout this entire season, Joe Gibbs and his staff have done an outstanding job in preparing this football team and adjusting during the games to the necessary game plan to make them successful. And I see no reason for that to change tomorrow. And if that's the case, look for the Redskins to be going to San Diego for Super Bowl number 22. This is Sonny Jurgensen.
What do you think about that?
No bias there, huh?
No, a little more bias right here. One thing Sonny didn't touch on was the fact that I feel, and I think he agrees with me, that the Redskins at home are the best fourth quarter team in football. You have to have a real big lead to feel safe in the fourth quarter against the Redskins, so they're going to be tough to beat at home. I like the spread, and I like them tomorrow, obviously.
Fans obviously make a difference. Well, just what is it going to take for the Vikings to win? Steve Carroll has a report on that, and he sought the advice of an expert who knows exactly what it takes to win a league championship.
The Minnesota Vikings have a great offensive line right now. And
Former Viking linebacker Wally Hilgenberg knows what it takes to make it to Super Sunday. He played 12 years in Minnesota and helped lead the Vikings to 4 Super Bowls. As far as this year's team is concerned, Wally says offensively they've turned into a scoring machine, a must for playoff success. And it doesn't matter who's at quarterback, the secret is what's up front.
Son Jones is out there. This could be the distance. It is.
I've looked at that ball club and followed them, and what they have done, they've put together a great offensive line. And I really think that that's what's propelling them forward. So the impetus they have right now is the play they're getting from that offensive line. They've got some guys that are healthy and playing very well.
The defense is also playing well after a slow start. And Wally says, as a unit, they rally around a steady veteran.
Scott Studwell, he's one of the few guys on that team left that I ever played with. Has been a very consistent, steady performer, and he really, I think, is the nucleus to that. He's got those guys going, and I see him on the sideline pumping them. And you got to be tough, you got to be aggressive to play defense, and he's got that mental and physical toughness to do that.
And as the Vikings put the final touches on Sunday's game plan, Wally believes they're Super Bowl bound.
I believe it. You know, 4 times I've been there and 4 times I lost. It's disappointing. I think this is the team that's going to win it all.
Only time will tell if he's right.
Still to come as we get set for the championship, fans square up and say why they think their home team will win.
And a little bit later, we'll go live to Las Vegas and get the latest line for tomorrow's game, so stay with us.
You're with a championship, Super Bowl bound. Hansard Downtown Pontiac presents the 1988 6000 DTE and the 1988 Grand Am DTE, the Downtown Editions. Both feature European luggage racks, DTE trim, custom alloy wheels, now at a special downtown price. The 6000 DTE, $10,380. The Grand Am DTE, $9,780. Only at Hansard Pontiac in the heart of downtown Minneapolis.
Come on, everybody, do that kick. Help kick, milk that kick. The heartland pours it on real tall. Staying in shape, milk's a part of it all. Milk! From big city slickers to wheat field kickers, America's favorite help kick, milk.
I had a mean case of the blues. My stereo, the one that saw me through 3 years of college and 5, 6 serious relationships, it died. So I'm thinking, where does an audiophile with a cash flow problem go to get a great stereo? Then it hit me. Best.
When you're thinking of home electronics, think Best.
Now these are the kind of blues I can live with.
Remember when a drive-in was $1, a hot dog was a dime, and cars were under $10,000? Now the movie's $6. A hot dog's $1.75. And cars, well, Subaru still has a line of cars for under $10,000.
Stop that, Jimmy!
The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Visit your local Subaru dealer.
know, Redskin fans and Viking fans are big talkers when it comes to their football teams, but usually when they're talking, they're surrounded by people who agree with them.
Yeah, not tonight. We've done something special here. We've rigged a satellite hookup so fans in Minnesota and in Washington can argue almost face-to-face. Let's go to Asha Blake in Minneapolis.
Well, Paul, yes, we do have big talkers here. I'll tell you, I've got one of the best Minnesota fans right here. Champion 2! They say Redskins might as well not even show up. How do you think it's going to turn out?
Vikings over Redskins by 10. The Redskins are potato skins. We're taking it. We're there. We are the champions.
You heard it here. You heard it here, Paul. Let's go see what's going on in Washington.
Talk to him, Liz. Go ahead. Talk to him.
I'll tell you what. Minnesota's a good team. But the bottom line is we're better. Sticks and stones may break our bones, but the Vikings will never hurt us. We're going to the Super Bowl. Sorry, Minnesota.
Love that kind of talk.
Hey.
Yeah. Stick with me. I'll make you.
You know, hey, everybody,
You're going to like that. The potato skins, huh?
I think you guys definitely won that round right there. I think that guy was a little stronger out there in Minneapolis.
It's been crazy here. I'm actually from Minnesota, and I've been here since last Wednesday. Your fans really are.
They're
rabid.
I would say Denver's approaching them now. No offense to your fans in Minneapolis, but these fans here, as Mike mentioned earlier, every home game since 1968 has been sold out. And he talked about tickets being willed. That's not true. I mean, that's not a lie. That is true. This is the most rabid football town I've ever been in.
Well, I got to tell you one thing, Glenn. I know you like the Redskins, but it's Minnesota's your destiny. We win the World Series, we have to win the Super Bowl. With that, let me just move us right out to Denver right now. Let's head out there and check up on those guys.
Gentlemen?
We're still here, believe me. This is the third time around now for the Broncos fans in the last 11 seasons. For the fans, we still haven't seen it all. In a moment, we'll rejoin Steve Alvarez, who will have one of those die-hard Bronco fans with him.
And before we join Steve, let's return to Cleveland and Lou Maglio, who is with a Browns fan. And I'm sure, like the team, Lou, the fans are looking for a much different outcome to this year's title game.
Oh, I'm sure they are, Nev. This is John Gomina. He is a rabid, die-hard Browns fan. John, in 15 seconds, why are the Browns going to win tomorrow?
We have Bernie Kosar, the #1 QB in the AFC. Games are won in the trenches. We're going to control the line of scrimmage, control the ball. The awesome dog defense, a Pro Bowl team. The Denver secondary is hurting. The three amoebas are ailing. The biggest game of the season. Cleveland 31, Denver 17.
How about a park? All right, Denver, can you possibly top that? Let's find out from Steve Alvarez. All right, thank you, sir. There will be no dog bones in Mile High Stadium, just plenty of Broncos fans. Kevin McClay, why are the Broncos going to win?
They're going to win by at least 14 points.
Can you tell me why, to your friends in Cleveland?
It's just one of those things that it's going to happen. Cleveland's gone. That's
Cleveland's history?
Yeah.
No doubt about it?
They can't handle it.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, I'll throw it back to you. You've heard the final prediction. The Broncos fans say they're going to win.
They are beautiful, aren't they? Let's go back out to Washington, see if we can top that someday, gentlemen.
Depends on who's gone, right?
All right. We've been advertising our dial-it services now for you fans to call in. Let's check the early results. This is in the first 25 minutes. Pretty good response so far.
Let's see who the fans think is Super Bowl bound this year. There you go. 19% for the Redskins. Ooh, the Vikings 17%. Look at this. The Broncos 27%. And obviously, everybody in Cleveland's on the phone tonight. And at home, maybe the weather's bad there, and they're all inside and decided to go ahead and
We know what the Redskins fans are doing. They're probably tailgating down at the stadium right now. They want to get there, be there on time.
Out there a little bit
They don't want to
early,
miss this thing. They're the hardcore people.
Well, there's more to come as we get set for the championship.
And we'll be back and give you some Las Vegas results, who they think the favorites are out there, and more on the phones. Don't go away.
You're with a championship, Super Bowl bound.
Hi, I'm Kenneth E. Nord, and the E stands for Every Man's Friend. With my son Terry, I'm owner of Nord Motor Company, located a mile west of Anoka on Highway 10. Our motto is, if we can't help you, we won't hurt you. We're a family operation. We also offer a 2-year, 24,000-mile warranty.
He won't be late again, Dad. That's my boy.
Shop Menards now for dazzling deals on Black & Decker tools. From glue sticks to shop tools,
you'll save on Black & Decker Quality Now. This variable speed rotary toolkit is ideal for hobbies or workshops. It has 22 attachments to cut, drill, carve, engrave, polish, sharpen, sand, and more. On sale now for just $29.99. For dazzling deals on Black & Decker tools, hurry into Menards.
My folks just left.
Thank you.
The new Subaru Justy gets you anywhere you want to go, less expensively than any other four-wheel drive car.
Mr. Potts, you're home. Of course.
What brings you out on a night like this, James?
Visit your local Subaru dealer.
I'm so proud. Proud of my wife.
Thanks.
And I'll be proud of Bobby.
Sarah.
He'll play baseball.
Tennis.
Just like his dad.
Mom.
He'll be a legend in football.
A champ on the court.
I think he'll go camping, fishing, golfing, swimming.
I think we'll go broke.
Nah, we'll go to Best.
Oh.
When you're thinking about sporting goods, think Best.
I can't wait.
Well, good, because I think it's time.
Time for what?
I don't think there's any doubt you can bet there will be plenty of money wagered on tomorrow's game between these four teams.
You bet, Mike, and with that in mind, let's take a look at who's favored.
And to help us out, we're going to go live at the Golden Nugget Casino in Las Vegas, and that's where oddsmaker Jimmy Vaccaro is joining us now. Jimmy, you there? How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Jimmy, if you can hear us here in Denver, let's start off first with the AFC title game. What's the latest line on that Broncos-Browns contest for tomorrow?
Well, in both games, Mike, the game is a solid 3 all over town. We have Denver a 3-point favorite. The over and under is 44. That shows that we really don't know who the favorite is. We're simply giving the 3 points to the home field, which in that case would be Denver.
Jimmy, what do you see as the big strength for the Broncos tomorrow? And apparently the Vance Johnson injury hasn't changed things at all, huh?
Well, the 3 amigos will be down to 2 amigos now, but I don't think that'll stop the Denver Express. The main strength with Denver is, as it's always been, John Elway. If the Browns can control Elway, they can win the football game. But John is such a dangerous quarterback, he can beat anyone at any time. Conversely, to the other side of the field, you have the Browns, who must keep Elway off the field. How do you keep Elway off the field? With a controlled offense. Mack and Biner must run, get between 60 and 80 yards between them, control the clock. That's the only way that the Browns are going to beat Denver and Elway.
Okay, now it's time to tackle the NFC side of the coin.
Jimmy, this is Paul Majors. We're back here, Glenn and I, in Washington. Now, the matchup between the Vikings and the Redskins, what are the odds in that game now?
It's the same as we were out west, Paul. It's 3 the home team, 44 the over and under. Here it's basically the same thing. Strength on both sides are relatively the same. Right now, I would say the strength with the Vikings would be Anthony Carter. He's a game breaker. He proved it in the last 2 games against the Saints, and he really proved it against the 49ers last week. On the other side of the field, you have a very good team, a very good home football team in the Washington Redskins. Plus, you have Joe Gibbs, who can prepare a team as well as anyone.
All right, Jimmy, what are the advantages do you feel that the Redskins have tomorrow going into this game? What are their strengths?
Well, really, not too many advantages here. I would say that, first of all, the Vikings are the team that is on the roll. In other words, whatever they do seems to be the right thing to do. On the other side of the field, again, we have the Washington Redskins, who I give Joe Gibbs a great amount of credit for pulling his starting quarterback and putting Doug Williams in, and Doug Williams has performed. This takes a lot of nerve to do that in playoff time, when a coach can come out, pull his #1 quarterback and put the new #2 quarterback in and have that guy perform. And Gibbs did it without disrupting the entire team. That's the strength of the Washington Redskins.
Well, Jimmy, I know you can't rule out the Vikings as underdogs. Now, what do the Vikings have going for them? What do you like about them?
The Vikings have momentum going for them. And right now, believe me, there hasn't been any line changes in Las Vegas for the past 5 days. But the sentimental favorite are the Minnesota Vikings. I can tell that by the amount of money still being bet on the Vikings to win the Super Bowl. It's the same all over town. It seems like they're America's team now. It seems whatever they do is the right thing to do. And the major thing that they did last week against the 49ers is what I thought was the key to the game. When you get on top of a high-powered team like the 49ers, you don't sit on the football. They kept trying to score each time
time they got to football. You must try to score to beat those high-powered offensive teams, and Burns had a great game plan. They kept trying to score, and the outcome was as you saw it.
All right, Jimmy, we're a little short on time, but give us your 2 picks for the Super Bowl.
The 2 picks for the Super Bowl. Well, listening to all these fans all over the country, it looks like we're going to have 4 teams in San Diego come the 31st of January. but I think it's really going to be a great contest. You have 4 teams who deserve to be there, but I think tomorrow Cleveland and Minnesota are going to edge the 2 home teams out, go to San Diego, look for a barn burner in San Diego, and Cleveland to be the Super Bowl champs.
Well, there you have it, everybody at home. You don't need to watch the games tomorrow. We know who's in the Super Bowl now at this point, huh?
Absolutely. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
All right.
You're with a championship, Super Bowl bound.
Once people get a look at what they can win, the Pepsi 4x4 sweepstakes is going to attract a lot of attention. Because the grand prize is a real beauty. A 1988 Jeep Wrangler. But you'd better enter now before it gets away.
Feature this week at your 20 Metro Rainbow locations. Hansard Downtown Pontiac presents the 1988 6000 DTE and the 1988 Grand Am DTE, the Downtown Editions. Both feature European luggage racks, DTE trim, custom alloy wheels. Now at a special downtown price. The 6000 DTE, $10,380. The Grand Am DTE, $9,780. Only at Hansard Pontiac in the heart of downtown Minneapolis.
Menards is out to dazzle you with sparkling values in lighting. You'll find wall lights, chandeliers, and more on sale now. For dramatic accents, choose modern track lighting. On sale now starting at just $9.44. And stock up to save on Sylvania soft white light bulbs. Buy 2 twin packs at the sale price, and with the rebate, your cost is just 29 cents per bulb. For dazzling deals in lighting, come on into Menards. When you build America's heartland and Menards.
Gatorade this winter, maybe you just don't get thirsty.
Gatorade is thirsty, all that deep down fire thirst.
All right, Nev Chandler, you're also the voice of the Cleveland Browns on radio. How do you see the game tomorrow?
Well, Mike, if I say something wrong, these Denver fans outside the studio are going to lynch me, I know. Take me down on Larimer Square or something. But I think it'll be a wild shootout. I think the team that has the ball last will win it. This time it's the Browns' turn, I think 30-27.
All right, I'm going to go with a mile-high mystique and John Elway and pick the Broncos to win, even without Vance Johnson, 35-28.
I knew you would.
Nev Chandler, been a very pleasurable moment for me working with you tonight. And we're going to go back to Paul and Glenn in Washington.
Thank you, gentlemen.
A couple of surprise picks.
Yeah, absolutely. Who do you like tomorrow?
Oh, I obviously like the Vikes. It's Minnesota's year. The Twins win. The Vikings are going to win, and someday we'll make it a hat trick with the North Stars. And I know that you're going to say the Redskins,
Absolutely.
but I just want you to have this for tomorrow. There you go.
What is this?
Well, just hold it up there. You can.
No,
wear
I'm not. There's no way I can hold this up in this town. I'll give it to one of the 4 people over here. But let me say this. I got to go with the 2 home teams. I like Denver tomorrow, and I like the Redskins. And I want to borrow a page from Joe Namath, and I'm going to guarantee the Redskins win tomorrow.
Ooh.
Send all that Minnesota mail to WUSA
pie
in Washington.
That's it for us tonight. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you later.
Good night.
championship Super Bowl bound has been sponsored in part by Subaru. Get a great deal on a great car. Visit your local Subaru
This
dealer
reminds me
today.
back in Cincinnati.
And by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. Gatorade is thirst aid for the deep down body thirst. And by Hanser Downtown Pontiac Sales and Service Center downtown.
I'm Kevin McDonald.